Polling for the Kerala Assembly elections will be held on April 9. The Left Democratic Front is seeking a consecutive third term. The Congress, after uh, two debacles, is trying to steer the UDF back to power. The BJP has had just one seat in the history of Kerala Assembly, but it is trying to reopen its account and make its presence felt again in the Assembly. We have with us today Dr. Thomas Isaac, CPIM Central Committee member and former Finance Minister of Kerala, to discuss the elections. Welcome, sir.
Thank you.
So, you are not contesting this time. There was speculation that you would be fielded from Malapura. So, was it your decision not to contest, or the party asked you not to?
We don't take individual decisions. But I think I've been 20 years representing Alapi. That's a pretty long time. And being a legislative member is not the only thing I am capable of. So I have a professional economist, I have contributions in other places. So it doesn't matter. I mean, that's not the key issue at all.
How do you read the election mood at the moment?
Well, there is zero anti-incumbency against the government.
Despite the results of the local body polls?
That's right. That's a very strange thing. When you start talking to people, then there is nothing against the government. Welfare measures. What is the complaint about? There were complaints in the loss of election. Now they all have been rectified. Then, as for the middle class and population at large, the kind of infrastructure development that is taking place is something phenomenal. See, when these projects which have been started are completed, Kerala's infrastructure phase would totally be transformed. And Kerala has become investor friendly. So major changes are on the way. It's visible for anybody. But then, why is there no appreciation of that? For the simple reason, the left has been losing the propaganda war. In the present, it is not what you do, but what people imagine that you have done is more important. So we have made a big effort to reach out to people, talk what is wrong, what is your complaint against the government. Then there is an introspection that takes place. They don't really have a grievance against the government as such, but then there are misunderstandings and so on. So I think this time we have overcome our weakness in the uh, our communication extension program, and that brings a new awareness, and we have an advantage. Almost all except few existing MLAs are contesting, and there are a substantial number. They are all familiar, you see. Achievement. If you look at the posters of each of these MLA, the background is some major infrastructure project which has been realized in that constituency. So they have this advantage. Though Congress MLAs are also contesting, majority of the novices who are contesting, and their candidates have now been finalized. So this time, left is going to win the propaganda. Wow. So I think we'll be able to remove the misunderstandings and make a big headway. We will win.
This is something that I wanted to ask you. Like you said, a large number of sitting MLAs are contesting the election all over again. So this is almost like a referendum on the present government.
Right. Right. That's what we want this to be. A referendum on the present government and an agenda to take forward what this government has done. So we have very clear perspective of what is to be done in Kerala, a financial strategy to support it. BJP has none. To date, they have been saying Vikasit Kerala. But what is it? You go to the site, when there is a site, Vikasit Kerala site, there is nothing about what is Vikasit Kerala here. BJP will find it very difficult to make a program for Kerala because they like to always what is their model states would come up in mind. What happened to UDF is they have been criticizing, attacking every initiative of the government. That is something kind of totally negative attitude, which in fact has never happened in Kerala before. There is always a give and take. In election, you fight it out tooth and nail, but otherwise, major reforms, there has been a collaboration, etc., acceptance of the fact you are ruling and so on. There was also a grace period in which you don't attack. These are all political decorums of Kerala, which I think a candidate took to the extreme. Till the final year, he refused to attack the government when he was the opposition leader. But this time it's very different. You see, Congress have been shaken by the fact they lost a consecutively second time, and therefore they thought to overcome this fall and the kind of perhaps disillusionment in the ranks by going tooth and nail, hammer and tong against the government. Now, when you do that, it is difficult to devise an alternative program. You see, you don't start from tabula rasa. Kerala has been growing and developing, and therefore, I found, for example, this difficulty. Vedi Sadishan, uh, he had to try to coin new word, Neo Kerala. Why does he have to do that? Because Navakeralam has been so he has to have a new terminology, which is totally say inappropriate. You don't call it Neo Kerala. You can call it Post Kerala model, but you don't call it Neo Kerala model. Or else the latest NDTV discussion, you talk about reverse remittances, and so, which is forced to innovate such kind of not innovate, coin such phraseology of development because we have been negative. Now, see if you take reverse, don't call reverse remittances the key issue of Kerala development. 20% of the remittances that come to Kerala. Major outflow of remittance money is to fill the trade gap, trade deficit, which comes to 1 lakh crore rupees. And third component is that which is transferred to the banking channels. Now you have to build the infrastructure at the earliest, fastest, so that you manufacture more of these commodities domestically so that your trade deficit comes down. Secondly, you attract money which flows out the banking channels to investment in Kerala. So in this interim period, you will have to use the migrant workers in Kerala because Kerala's educated labor force is not willing to do that job. So if you want to accelerate your transformation, this interim period is inevitable. You see, you don't raise this as a problem or reverse remittance flow. See, I'm very generous. I'm saying it is that this is the result of the total negative attitude to everything that government has done. But Kerala government, the left today, we have a record, track record. We show this. Anything, there's a track record. And tell them we are going to take it forward. Do you want this or not? This is a way we are posing the issue before the people.
While there's been major infrastructure development across sectors, the left has also come under criticism on several other counts. For example, you have all these new hospital buildings coming up, but then there is a staffing issue. There is the issue of paucity of equipment, and when it comes to employment also, unemployment is still pretty high. And the left is also accused of going back on its own policies and positions. Say, for example, in the case of Shabarimala, the latest affidavit or submissions to the questions presented in front of the Supreme Court. So, on all these counts, there is a criticism that the left is not behaving like a leftist group.
Left is not behaving like left. And see, we cannot stick on to the left positions, pre-1991 left positions. The world has changed, India has changed, and you are a state within India. And this new state government will have to engage with this reality. That's a term we use, engage with the reality. It's not enough to say no. You have the responsibility of working within the system. You have to engage with the reality. Is China behaving like China of revolutionary time? What is the grievance of Cuba? Is not they want to stick on to the old line. They are not permitted to allow to change. You see, or Vietnam. So, or take Sri Lanka for example, because there's a global system. You're working within that system, and therefore you will have to engage that system. And Kerala, you have to engage with the federal system also. So it's a very complex thing. I'm not saying every step that we have taken is correct and so on. We are also experimenting and learning how to go forward in this. So basically, what we have done is, one, you need to have higher revenue expenditure to meet welfare, social commitments. But at the same time, you need to rapidly escalate your capital expenditure so that infrastructure deficit is overcome and attract investment into knowledge-based sectors, transform the economy. Without doing that, see, by the welfare payment, social sector investment, etc., you are addressing poor, ordinary people. There's a growing middle class. Even the new generation of the poor, they are not satisfied with welfare and they want the expectations are much higher. If the left doesn't have an agenda to meet those expectations, your role in Kerala is finished. You have done a good job in history. But now the challenges are different. You have no program. So we have devised a program. Now, their infrastructure construction, India government is finding very difficult to accept this. That we are using extra budgetary resources. It's a big fight. But central government is central government. But then you will have to remodel your product. That's all to it. Don't give it up. You are saying that KIFBI is totally dependent on government funds. We are saying already like now high 25% is based upon revenue. They don't agree. All right, we'll make it 50%, we'll make 70%. Okay, hospitals are there. Instead of government giving a grant to KIFBI, the hospital building will be owned by KIFBI and government by selling rent. So you are within the FRBM provisions as interpreted by the state central government. We will fight it here, fight it legally, we'll fight it before people. See, so we have a strategy UDF doesn't have. UDF's basic position is government is in debt trap. Well, sheer nonsense. There are clear definitions of what's debt trap here. As long as your rate of interest that you pay is lower than the GDP growth rate, your debt is sustainable. That's what economics teaches you. Rest are all rigmarole here in total amount of debt and so on and so forth. So they come to believe in what they have been accusing the government, debt trap, debt trap. All right, then now they have to face and say, how are we going to finance this? They don't know. They cannot say we will continue KIFBI, they will continue this way because they've been criticizing. So how do you do it? So you go to preposterous suggestions. Gold alone is sufficient, 15,000 crores will come gold. Or you say GST will grow that rate, this rate. See, they don't have a strategy. Now, for traditional left, as you said, there are many nuances you can go to criticize. For example, Kerala has been the movement developed through very powerful movement, trade union movement in the unorganized sector, so that everybody is organized, wages are very high and so on. How did you achieve that? By creating rigidities in the labor market. See, a MPhil thesis under me, the student has documented how in Shaktan market in Trichu, how labor market segmentation goes to the level that 5 shop, 10 shop, each one is for one person or two persons. Market doesn't function. That's the level of bargaining. That's how people organize thought and increase their wages. But now, wage increase is customary. Nobody need to even strike. It has become part of the cultural ethos of Kerala that price are rising, something has to be given. Say Gulf people have come back, so in one sector construction wage rates have gone up. Then relative wages in other sectors will tandem will rise, parity. So Kerala ethos has changed, but old traditions continue. Somebody will say, no, 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 you are now changing. This is our secretary now. You get a decent wage now, open up. So this is not to be forcefully enforced. We'll talk with the workers here. Tell them this is changing. Your children requires different jobs. They won't come to do your job. So even here there will have to be machinery, mechanization and so on. So there are things which will have to change. Some changes are not just formal, deeper. Say, like for example, we banned leasing. Okay, that's a land reform law. But now we are saying there must be reverse leasing. The people say, you are now abandon land reform. No, earlier it was leasing was from a landlord to a tenant poor. Now leasing is an arrangement between the tenants or poor farmers, ordinary farmers. It's very different, you see. So there have been changes that has to take place and there will be debates about it. But there is one issue that you raised about cultural changes that are taking place, religious beliefs and so on. The left tradition has been, say, in Kerala, rationalist thinking, critique of tradition, religious tradition, and so on. The left has come through those extremes. Everything that has been held sacred for so many centuries was challenged by social reforms, and social reform movement gave rise to the left. Okay, that's the tradition. And we worked in the caste organizations. Even M.S. Namburipad was a member of the caste organization of upper caste, everybody. But then you raise the anti-caste slogans from your own independent caste platforms also. This was the. But now these movements of class movements have become so important and dominant. We are the dominant force. We say we won't work in the caste organization anymore. Withdraw from the caste organization. Withdraw from the temples. Thus, those who believe want to practice and let them continue. We are not against saying caste organization has no role, but we are not going to work in that. Now, this is a decision we made some 20 years back or 30 years back. But now these things have changed. Indian politics. You have caste religious government in Delhi who use their position to resurrect caste movements all over India and occupy the vacant lots in temples and so on by RSS. Now you can say no, you continue. We are trying to move in again back. We won't give you this position.
Was that why the decision was taken for the party members to be
Yeah,
there on temple forums and all that?
yeah, yes, you not party leaders, but rank and file should involve, keep these fellows out. Bring in secular people or religious, keep out to this. So this battle is on. It's a big change. So many people think now you're going back to temple. The situation has changed. So the Shabarimala issue raised. All right. Our position is very clear. In VS government time, the affidavit we gave. One, we are nothing against women entering the temple. Two, but this is something a long tradition, and therefore a council of two sets of people. One, the priests and so on. Two, social reformers. The council should discuss and debate on the basis of which a court will take a position. So this has been the position. When UDF government tried to move away from that, we reinstated again in the first Pinarayi government. But then court gave a verdict based upon a case filed by BJP, a BJP sympathizer, that women should be given the right to enter. All the political parties, Congress and BJP, welcomed it. Government then said we will implement it. But people, religious people, believers, they didn't like it. That's true. So they were against it, and Congress and BJP changed the position, and the consequences everybody knew. Now election is here again. So status quo has been continuing. Court has taken it up. I don't know why on the eve of the election they want the state government to give an affidavit. I don't want to say motivation to court, but taking this controversial issue at this juncture is helpful to BJP and UDF. That's all I would say. I'm saying court did this because of it, but this is a reality. So what does the government do? Government goes back to the first VS government affidavit. They say we have with that affidavit. See, you don't want to enter in the debate on this. Now call them, discuss with them, then we will come in. I don't know if court will be happy with what we said. But this is a political game that is going on here. It's so evident to me. So we are not going to be simplistic fools to fall into the trap. So we haven't gone back and so on. We have gone back to what we gave, evidence we gave in VS government.
2007.
And that is fairly acceptable to the various Hindu community organizations also, who are relatively adopted, relatively conservative positions also. They are also, let the discussion take place. And the issue is much wider also, because now the question is not just temple, all religious institutions. So it's much more complex. Minority rights, this, that, and so on. So this is something we have to tread very carefully. And we have done that. See, the reality is complex and we cannot just stick to the composition adopted here. We are trying to adapt ourselves.
But alongside this, there has been this issue of gold theft, which was detected by the Travancore Devasam Board Vigilance and then taken up by SIT, which is being monitored by the High Court, Kerala High Court. Now, a couple of CPIM leaders, they were accused of being a part of this. Then they had to spend some time in prison. Now they are out on bail, and the party is actually keeping one person away, Mr. Padmakumar, away from electioneering in Pathanamthitta. So all this, along with the Sabrimala submissions, so will this have an impact? Do you think that there will be a serious impact of this on the elections?
What in Shavaril was a shocker to us. Nobody suspected anything like this going on. Hangy-pangy. One, out of it, at least, these are all very religious people and priests also. Without the knowledge, nothing can happen in that little place here. So it was a shock to us, and therefore, but now one thing has become clear. It is not something that started when CPM government came into power, something longer. Even under UDF, these things were going on. So this is a practice kind of robbery which has been a longer, much longer history. Three, it is also become clear now High Court today has stayed the exoneration to the Tandris who BJP supports. So this is something in which all the political parties have failed to say
Well, to properly monitor the
monitor and implement. So what do we do? One, we tell we'll follow what court under the court to have a investigation that's going on. Court is monitoring it. Two, we put a person, not a political person, but a bureaucrat of impeccable honesty and integrity. As there was a board chairman, he himself I'm certain was surprised. So, we don't want to have any suspicion among the people that we have some interest in it. But now the problem has come. So why didn't you do action against people who have been jailed? One, we couldn't get. They have to be given a chance. Explanation what has happened. So now they have come out. With Patmaguma, we gave a notice. So he has denied all the charges, etc., etc. It's a lapse in supervision. So we have decided keep him away from all party activity, and that is made public also, and also election work, and wait for the police charge sheet, based upon which action will be taken. Notice is being given. Is explanation secured? One charge sheet is known, then we know what is the charge against him. Now only hearsay what has come in the newspapers, there is action will be taken. There is nothing more better that is something which never should have happened.
But until that time, he'll be kept out of all
All
political
activities,
activities.
all activities. That's there is no communicate. We don't want it. So that's there are some people who said take action is in suo moto, but I think we have to be fair that at least know what is the charge sheet. His claim is that is a supervisory lapse. I trusted these people. That's what he is saying. But if there is anything more than that, either a connivance or conspiracy, the charge sheet should say, and then action will be taken. So this is what we are trying to tell the people. See, now that explanation has become much more easier to communicate because one, UDF is involved, this Tantri forever is also involved.
Now, coming to the political questions, a number of interesting developments happened over the last couple of days, especially for the CPM. In January, Aisha Poti, who earlier represented Kotarakara, so she joined Congress now, so she left CPM. And in the last couple of days, if you look at it, G. Sudhakaran, who has not had a very fine relationship with the party over the last couple of years, he chose to sever his ties and he is now contesting from Ambalapura. He is a person of impeccable integrity as people see him. And now the Congress has also pledged its support for him. And in Kannur, where the party is believed to be pretty strong, TK Govindan raised the specter of rebellion. So he is contesting against PK Shyamala. And this is basically the argument is that the party state secretary's wife should not be contesting the election soon after he held that constituency, Taliparamba, for 3 terms. So, uh, don't you think that all these things are going against the aspirations of the CPM and the left to sort of come back to power again?
None of these present leaders can be compared to these stalwarts. But there is a difference between them and the present descent. These were ideological. The Naxal leaders or Chatani Master interpreting the land reforms in Kerala or MVR, a tactical position of allying with the League, or Gauriamma also is more ideological. But here the issue is whether I get a chance to contest or not. Purely parliamentary ambition which has been thought on by people who have been in the party for so long and had the luxury of being the representative of the party not one time, so many times, being
But then
ministers.
that is not true of TK Govindan.
Eh?
TK
Illa.
Govindan.
That's one exemption that is there. But he has been the district.
Yeah, hand
Yeah, and so on. So this is about position, nothing about ideology. This is a reflection of a degeneration that is taking place in the left movement also. See the big visions about a global transformation, transition, or even Indian revolution, they get a little weaker and weaker, and immediate gains from political activity becomes important, and therefore they are disappointed if we are not considered. Okay, it is right for it is okay for anybody to be ambitious enough to want to contest again, want to be minister again, and there's nothing wrong with that. Yeah. But then you will rebel if you don't get that chance. That is unacceptable. So this time, this is a pointed to a big danger that is developed. See, one, the political imagination these people have lost. Not only many in the movement also, the political imagination is getting weird. Even if very difficult to imagine the global change and Indian change, at least we would have a democratic vision of Kerala. And develop our state into another world, another possible world. Another world is possible. To keep alive that hope.
That is the name of your book.
It's very important that you get enthused by it. Okay, you are not make global revolution, but I am enthused fantastically by the fact that we in this state are able to provide a secular space. Yeah, so many people come to Kerala. The last government said when we have little more money in the hands, anybody in India want to hold a conference which they cannot hold in their state, come to Kerala. Indian History Congress, so many academic conferences were held here. Or you want to marry somebody of your choice, like Mona Lisa, come to the state. It's a haven where you can seek refuge from this madness of India. Secular space, progressive, cultural, rich. See, people have asked, but you spend so much time, this money, for example, every district is supposed to have 30, 40 lakh crore rupee cultural center. So, where do you borrow money and build cultural centers, total some 400, 500, or stadiums of this scale and so on? Why? Culture is important here. So that Kerala is different. Now, if people don't think of world revolution, but still at least a different life in our little surrounding.
But you spoke about the secular space that is left, which is called Kerala, you said. And now the point is that isn't that space increasingly under attack? Given that there is a rise of BJP in the local body elections, they were able to capture the Trivandrum Corporation, and from earlier from the left parties, it was thought that there wouldn't be any exodus to the BJP. Now you have S. Rajendran, your former Devikulam MLA, joining the BJP and going to contest as a candidate from Devikulam for the BJP. And Natika MLA, sitting MLA, is joined the BJP. So you have the left also, the grounds of the left eroding pretty fast. A kind of degeneration that has happened in the left, which you pointed out, which is now benefiting the BJP in the state as well.
Many people ask why do the left survive so long in Kerala? The reason is there is a left hegemony in the state. The Gramscian sense. Yeah, cultural hegemony. There is an overarching progressive culture in Kerala. So everybody behaves within those norms. Now this is getting whittled down. I cannot claim there is a kind of cultural hegemony. It is being replaced by commercial vision, passions, and so on, and also far right. Now they have a niche in Kerala, place in Kerala. And it's affecting everybody's day-to-day life. 20 years back, no literary person, artist would go to a BJP platform. Now it is normal. This is left platform, that is BJP platform. You go there. And public space is declining in their place. Caste, community, religious space is increasing. And they don't want these religious spaces, etc., to become public spaces. The most funny comments are from the judiciary saying How dare you sing this song, Aloshi's song in the temple festival? They just don't know the history of Kerala. Yeah. The KPC had the largest number of theatre.
We are talking about Bollywood Rangle.
and Kadaprasangam, Sambashivan, it was all there here. But that's what I say. See, this public space is getting squeezed. And therefore, it has to be fought back. We will have not just one Binale. We will have IFK, we will have international theatre festival, dance festival, music festival. Any literary festival should be supported. Every club and reading room should be allowed to finance, support it, to have a Onam theatre. See, government will have to spend money on this. All this creates public spaces and enter into engagement. See, there are two things. One is revivalist trend, other is renaissance trend. Stand with the renaissance trend and critique the revivalist trend. This is a battle that has to be fought. We cannot take it for granted Kerala's cultural hegemony of the progressive secular thing is going to survive. It is under big attack.
Now, yeah, going back to my earlier question about the rebellion in Kannur. Now, looking at it electorally, is it going to cause some kind of a debacle for the party across the state?
No, I don't think
Or the
so.
level?
I don't think so. Kannur, nature of Kannur party, as far as I understand, is that when party faces a big challenge like this, there is a survival instinct. Everybody comes together. You may not get this in another district. This kind of. So I don't think there will be any issue there. They'll handle it.
And what do you think of Mr. Sudhakaran's candidature from Ambalappuzha, your own
Well,
district?
Alappuzha also has this traditional communist strongholds. When faced, then you get a feeling that party is in danger. Then even the sleeping guys get up and try to protect, though they are not active anymore. Just come down over time. I should. It is not there like in, say, Gauriamma was the most respected leader in Alleppey. There is no cadre in Alleppey who does not know whom she didn't have a contact with. But she couldn't make a headway
There was a stage when she was completely isolated.
isolate. So uh, I think this crisis we will face, but this is a danger signal. It's a danger signal. Which organizationally we will discuss and see why this kind of not only political ambition, private ambitions, but how they could expect they can get away with that they can rebel and still get. One is, unlike in the past, you are expelled, you are shunned by everybody. But now that situation has changed. You are expelled, BJP is there on the prowl to take in anybody. So that's a different scenario. Secondly, it has to be accepted that the post-Soviet downfall generation, that's what 80% of the party membership. I see Kerala communists, 5 generations. One is Punnapravila, pre-independent, heroic
1940s.
people. Then 46 to 65, where also you have to fight it out because Vimodana Samaram and his back, so there are. then split and post 65 generation up to 1980. From 1980, things becomes much more cooler. You are assured. You wait for 5 years
There
to
is
come
when
into
you allay the
power
fear
and
of
so
it.
on. And cadres instead of earlier cadres were mostly from workers and so on. Now it is all youth and students. All of us are of that generation. But then comes, but there was an international vision which inspired and kept you moving post 1991 period.
With the disintegration of USSR.
Uh, so where it is, the recruitment is from the youth. They never had seen, experienced earlier, and this big vision about uh, revolutionary vision that has been eroded. They constitute 80-85% of the party membership. So it's not very surprising that these things happen. So how do you keep your core of your movement insulated from these trends? How do you interact with your mass movements and reach out, politicize them? I will give you one example. Only 25% of the women in Kerala, those are educated and so on, they go out of the house to work. Suppose the participation rate we consciously increased to 50%, which would mean some 20 lakh women enter the labor force as wage workers. You think it is possible? Yeah, it is possible. There are so many care services required. They can go into the care economy. There are so many shops and things which are manned by migrant workers. We cannot replace them all. They are required. But there are many jobs where you don't get a person to work. Skilling them, giving them, they can be brought in. Best example would be Harita Karma Sena. See, you have transformed that job here, which by caste notions is the worst job. So much so that 217 persons are elected members of the local governments. See, this can be done for many, and politicizing this women is. Now, Harita Karma Sena members are within the fold. See, you'll have to, these new sections, segments of workers come, you'll have to read them, politicize them, and so on. So it requires a lot of creative thinking how to take them.
But despite that, the BJP has been growing in Kerala, despite all these. And how do you look at their electoral sort of ambitions and prospects?
See, BJP, Arun Jaitley used to joke with me. We were very, very friendly. So,
Part of the GST Council.
you are standing between us and conquering Kerala. The minorities, majority of them support UDF, Congress, but it's the other way around. So 70% of the Dalits support CPM. About 50% of 50% of the backward caste support CPM. It's only in the upper caste support CPM becomes a minority. So that is still the position broadly. And that's what holding the BJP at bay.
But BJP
That,
has been able to.
and they are trying their best. So BJP has been growing at the cost of UDF. votes support, upper caste support. They have been making inroads. It is in the post-Shabarimala election for the first time BJP made inroad into the left. So we have learned the lesson. So we have also changed the tactics already. You are religious, you be follow your religion, but don't become communal. We will provide you every space and support to practice your religion. So we are also trying to adopt. BJP is trying to make inroads, but still, by and large, still, majority of the Hindu community remains secular, not communal. BJP is not able to break it. They are trying in very different ways. We will find them.
But BJP has been able to increase its influence
Yeah,
among Christians.
but from 19% they have gone down to 16%. They have not advanced. They reached the peak in the post-Sabarimala Lok Sabha election. Though only they didn't win any seat at that time. They couldn't repeat it later. It in the Lok Sabha or this came down to 16. That's the support base that have. We need to keep at the one level. I don't think they are going to win any seat this time also.
So it's going to
No.
continue to be zero.
No.
But last time they were able to come second in 9 constituencies. Yeah,
That's
assembly
right.
constituencies.
And they have lost that advantage in the local government election, only in 3. And we'll be extra careful. Yeah?
Southern Kerala was one region which actually propelled the second Pinarayi government, which I mean, in fact, brought the left back to power in 2021. And South is where you face some setback in the local body polls.
That's right.
Yeah.
So that has been a warning in advance. So we have been taking extra care. Now elections in, say, in Trivandrum, where we are sitting, is now very evident and clear. There is nothing that is sweeping against the left. So there may be some minor setbacks, but nothing enough to shake the left majority in the assembly.
So the LDF is quite confident
Confident,
going into the election.
confident. I told you, in Congress, I don't know why, they have yet to get their act together.
But the UDF is thinking of getting 100 plus seats.
Well, one has to pretend that they are so damn sure about it. One thing is true, UDF knows if they lose the third time, then it will be a big setback to them. So they are also desperate, right? They have the democratic right to seek vote and support and hope they will win. But I think I am convinced the left will come back to power.
On that note, thank you so much for this interview. It's a pleasure talking to you.